Today's topic is on the chakras and the subtle body. Before we begin, we'll just chant 3 ohms and Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So that's peace, peace, peace. And bring your hands to your heart. Take a deep breath in, and you can chant it in your mind or with your mute button off, that's fine, or on at your comfort level. Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Tonight's topic is chakras and the subtle body. I'm going to introduce this topic with a little picture from a book called The Play of Consciousness. And it's showing the chakras. Many people you've probably seen this before. Really good question we're asking ourselves lately is how are you feeling? So there's always this superficial answer, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. But learning to pause, that was last week's homework. Learning to pause and check in with one's internal weather is an art in itself. And being more aware of the body and the emotions and the interconnectedness of your human experience, it takes a certain mindfulness. It takes a bit of a commitment. And whether moving on a yoga mat or on a chair like we're going to do tonight, look for an opportunity to develop a bit of a relationship and an observer relationship with really what's going on, in the muscles, in the poses, and in the person. So chakras are emotive fields of awareness. Like, it's not something that you can see on an X-ray, but they're experiential. You feel them. It's overlaid over the top of the map of the human body. And obviously let's say the anahata is the heart center. And the heart, we know it as a ventricular pump, but it's not just a pump. There's apparently 40,000 sensory neurites, and it forms a separate nervous system and gives biofeedback. So it's something separate, yet totally integrated with the body, where making a holistic decision or engaging in beneficial, sustainable choices for oneself, one's environment, one's loved ones, it's not always apparent to the intellect. Like we're sometimes the head and the body and the heart are not in sync. So it's a really interesting question. How are you feeling? And combining our intellect and our discernment with compassion. This is a challenge of the human condition in most spiritual traditions. So in yoga is ahimsa, the non-harming. We were introduced to that last week. But beyond non-harming, kindness, metta, loving kindness, where we're not just thinking, rationally and linearly. The heart is more holistic and all-encompassing, and able to, knowing your own heart, then you're able to see more clearly the heart of others. Yeah, the chakras and the subtle body map onto the physical body, as we saw in the photo. It's experiential and not dissectable. So you can't, there's no vishuddha under the skin that you can see and, or dissect if you're in medicine. There's a web of 72,000 nadis, and perhaps this maps onto the nerves or the interstitium, which is another kind of web-like spongy layer of the human body. So it pertains, but it is not. So, like I said, it maps on the body. And the primary nadi is the Sushumna. It parallels the spinal cord in the vertical plane. And what are we talking about? What is this? It's the kinesthetic awareness, the body consciousness, literally how your consciousness interacts with your senses, your skin, touching, tactile sensation, sense of smell. It's how you're in the yoga tradition that your body consciousness comes into the physical field. So, in my experience, as a bit of an inner astronaut, I had an experience of this because, I mean, I've had people come up to me like, do you feel your chakras? Oh, if I put my hand near there, do you feel your chakra? I'm like, no, I really don't. But then, I've had experiences where I got really upset and my throat started to tense and close, and I really felt it there. So I'm like, there's something to this. And then I had a very interesting experience of sleep paralysis. I was obviously in a deep sleep, and I was worried for my child, because when you're a parent, you have to get up and take care of the child. If the child makes a little noise, you jump into awareness. But somehow I ended up in out of sync. I was out of sync because I was completely aware. I was aware, but I could not speak and I could not move my body. So that's how people must be in a coma. So pretty interesting to me. But my inner astronaut really inquired into this. And I just held back on my fear and just said, I'm having an experience. And I waited, and I felt it start at the tip of my crown in a vertical, descend vertically like a tingling, because I wasn't having nerve compression like when you've slept on your arm funny or something. It was my whole body. Started at the crown, it came down my spine in a vertical and then spread out to my limbs. So then first I could open my eyes, then later on I could wiggle my fingers, adjust my shoulder blades, and later my feet. So for me, this was very eye-opening, that it was an experience. It's not something that I can replicate, or as a scientist, or show up dissect or X-ray. But in my experience, there's so much we don't know about the human body and how it interacts with consciousness. So back to the chakras. So the Sushumna and the chakras are there, and the heart center. We know the heart, we know love, we know compassion and grief, and often it has a somatic presence. Like, we just don't send Valentine's shaped like an elbow or shaped like, no. There's something common to humanity that we feel in our heart. I mean, it's so obvious, even though there's no, I don't want to say there's proof or scientific proof, but there's experiential proof that if you've lost a loved one, you feel it. It hits you right there. In the Vishuddha chakra would be the throat center. So these two we're just looking at tonight. That would be self-expression, maybe fear, maybe disconnect. Over, if chakras are out of balance, maybe there's over talking, or maybe there's too much silence. It's really, really interesting, and people can have a sore throat just when it's time to make a speech. There's such a huge psychosomatic connection. So yoga practices, getting to the nitty-gritty, yoga practices are an opportunity to peacefully listen to the body's internal messages. So not only to our aches and pains, but you can, now that you've seen a little map, you can visualize the different chakras. There's a book, I can't remember who the author is, but it's called Your Body Speaks Your Mind, and it's on the psychosomatic connection. So highly recommended. So when we're doing yoga practice, we're really, one thing that we're doing is we're channeling awareness away from our senses to the body and its chakras, all its aches and pains, its joys, its creaky places, and the feelings as well. So it's kind of multitasking, because people are telling you, breathe in, move your body like this, move it like that. And we just relax and follow along in a safe space. And the idea is to suspend thought and judgment and allow observation and curiosity. Because if we're having a lot of internal dialogue at the same time, well, then it's like, well, how do I look? Oh, I don't usually do that. Oh, what time, this is really boring. I really want to go have a snack. There's a place and time for that kind of mental chatter in other areas of our life, but this is an opportunity when we do yogic type practices to suspend the thoughts, to just hold ourselves in that observational state and kind of close down the sense doors, especially our eyes, because we're really now always on our eyes, looking at screens, getting absorbed in our screens, scrolling, clicking on things, reading constantly. The mouth is always wanting a snack or refresh the cup of coffee or tea. It's a never-ending sensory barrage of human existence. So yogis used to go to their caves. I'm in my basement right now, so I'm away from the sensory, how do you say, delights and distractions of the big screen television and the radio and family members and the refrigerator. And what happens when we do practices is we develop the ability to hold that state of suspension, of suspending the thoughts. We get a little bit of, especially nice in a group, if we get a group together, to have a bit of a field of unity awareness. Just everybody doing the same thing at the same time, like an orchestra. You get that a little bit of energy. And also, your mind slows down or learns to hit the pause button. And if you're able to turn the spotlight of your awareness towards your chakras, towards your breathing, towards what's going on in your body as you move and as you breathe, you are developing a witness state, sometimes called mindfulness. We call it the witness, the inner self, the enjoyer, the knower, but we'll call it the witness. And an excellent question about our consciousness is, who knows that you've had a good night's sleep? The awake you wasn't there, but yet you know if you slept well. You do know. And, we're so much in our visual field also, like, who knows if you're sitting up straight or not? Like, it's so much not in our awareness until, you catch yourself and you sit back up tall. So we learn to self-observe. We learn to observe our body, our feelings, the different states we go into, different experiences having in the body, because it's all interconnected. It's all interdependent. It's all one field. And there's a lovely little metaphor for the witness state and practice, because whether meditation or yoga, each time that we're practicing, it's like dipping a cloth in a vat of dye. So one time gets a light hue, second time a little deeper, a little bit deeper. As time goes over time, it gets a richer and richer, deeper hue. And we're better for it. We can go deeper. We can have a more sensitive awareness with our own humanity. Always a good time to refriend or befriend the body. Unfortunately, we don't always learn this from our family of origin or from our gym teacher or from our hockey coach or dance teacher. It's not always like that. Often we're very competitive with our assertive, aggressive with our bodies, sports or interactions. But in yoga, we really want to look at the body as our friendly companion and learn to listen to the messages that the body gives us, whether soft or loud. Soft messages, just saying, with age, become louder over time. So it's always a good time to start tuning into yourself. How am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? Ask yourself questions. Notice your breathing patterns. Last week we did a lot about breathing. So a lot of times breathing into the short, shallow breaths in the upper chest compared to having a full-bodied, full lung capacity breath can make a really big difference in your stress level just by experimenting with how you breathe and how you hold your body. And a bit of awareness, it's really easy to change these things. Be aware of areas of tension and contracted muscles, so that I think yoga can be used sometimes like a warm-up, but it should also be a look in to before you go play tennis or go play dance. If you find that your calves are super tight, maybe you should compensate how you're going to perform so that you don't hurt yourself. Like it's a mindfulness thing, and we can develop relationships to contracted areas of the body as well as areas where things are going well. And the first two yamas in yoga on the first steps off the mat. The first one, anyway, is ahimsa. So you can ask yourself, if you have a contracted muscle, have you been kind? Have you been non-aggressive towards it? Are you being truthful with yourself, with how you use your body? A lot of times we move our body. There's always the easy answer, well, that doesn't hurt. That's fine, that doesn't hurt. Or another answer is, let's say if you have a habit that's not serving you, but well, I could stop anytime, right? It's very difficult to be comfortable and vulnerable with the body. So just setting some sacred space to explore these things through reflection and journaling really can serve you. And now with the internet as a tool, you can look things up, research, but a lot of times by just going to the body regularly through yoga practice or through walking or through meditation, pranayama, you can be very proactive. You can, nip things in the bud. and being proactive, it really honors the inner self and the body that carries you through this life. It's why we want to practice, is to honor and connect with our inner self, as well as our muscles, our bones, our posture, our lungs. Personally, I had to learn to have a better relationship, an ahimsa relationship with my tendinitis. Had very painful rotator cuffs, and there was no one to blame but myself. I was doing sports far too aggressively and not having the insight that my body needed to rest or needed to hold myself in a different way. And often I would even just go to reach a can off a shelf and I would pull my shoulders. I didn't know there was some kind of limitations there. I literally pull my shoulders out of my socket instead of getting a step ladder and getting up to, I don't know where these habits came from, but once you start catching yourself, it becomes easier and easier to catch yourself in mindless behavior that's no longer serving you. So that's my happy ending story. Please be careful and find some personal space to practice and explore your body. It's always a good time. So let's lead us into practice now before the hour is up. And just draw yourself to your full height placing your feet squarely on the floor. And you can rock forward a little bit and forward and back. And try to feel your sit bones just in your mind's eye that are underneath you. And then go to one side, go to the other, so that you can just feel the difference, and then come back to center in a nice balance. So you're not forcing, you're not being a robot or a soldier. And just I say that may we honor and accept our bodies with all their strengths and all their limitations. Just accept and explore. So starting at the base of the spine by the root chakra, we can feel our tailbone, feel our sit bones, the sides of your pelvis. So even lean forward a little bit, and then as you sit up straight, scoop the tailbone, which is like a little puppy tail, between the sit bones. And you might notice that just by that action, it's like a pelvic tilt, just by scooping that tailbone, it engages the lower abdomen and provides a bit of muscular foundation for the rest of the spine to rise gracefully and tall. Just like we're building a house, we start with a foundation, and then first floor, second floor. Want to start with a strong foundation with muscular engagement, but not contraction. Okay? So now breathing up from the pelvic floor, just breathe up. Imagine breathing up the back of your spine nice and tall, and exhale, just a wheel down, flowing down from your navel back to the pelvic floor of your, down the front of your abdomen. So inhale up the back, tall, and down the front. So imagine we're making a circle, almost going around the navel chakra. Up the back. As you inhale, stretch the spine up, and then keeping that height, let the air out and let the abdomen softly flatten, like water is rolling down from the navel down to the pelvic floor. Placing your hands on your thighs or on the sides of the chair. Keeping that foundation and height, just shrug your shoulders gently, breathe in, and pull your chest forward, opening the chest wall. Exhale, release, round the spine, bow the head. Inhale, front. Exhale. Round your back like a Halloween cat. You can add a little stretch of the neck with that. Going slowly, mindfully. Come back to center. Drawing yourself breath right up through the crown of your head. Tall spine. Exhale. Let the diaphragm muscle release, but keeping that height in the spine. Turn to one side. Look over the back shoulder. Cross one arm across. You can just give a little bit of torque against your knee just to coax yourself. Come back to center. Take a centering breath. Turning right at the Manipura area, the navel area, the lower back. Breathe in tall. Exhale. Turn to the other side. Keeping the sit bones firmly on the chair or the cushion. Look over your shoulder. And come back to center. Moving up to the heart. You can place your hands just over the heart, Just having a moment to connect kinesthetically, soften your gaze and tune in with your own biofeedback. Tactile, you can feel. You can feel the heart pulsing against your palm. You can feel your own rib cage rising and falling with the breath. Often we can go into meditation just from doing this alone. Sometimes it's nice to just dive right into the heart space and spend some quiet time there. But just to have a little bit of movement first, you can place your hands in Anjali Mudra and place it straight, your thumbs to that heart that's underneath that sternum. You can touch the sternum, that big bone. And breathe out and lift the hands on the vertical. Just about, they call it about 12 fingers over the head. Not a big stretch. But then breathe in as you slide down the vertical. And breathe in and connect to the heart space and physicalize it. Feel the fingers against the sternum. Feel the heart open, feel the chest wall expand. Then breathe out. Lift the heart, the hands. Let the air out. Be aware of your vertical nature of your spine, the Sushumna. Breathe in. Breathe into the heart center. You can even pause the breath there if you can, just for a second, and then let it out. Nice long breath out slowly. You can do an ujjayi breath, like as if you're fogging a mirror, toning the back of your throat, letting the air out in a sweet, long sigh or hiss. Breathe in. Fill that chest wall with fresh, sweet air. Exhale. Let the arms have a little bit of freedom above the head. Into the heart. Out to the sky. Into the heart. Out to the sky. One more time, deep breath in. Pause for an instant if it's comfortable for you. And then release your hands, release your shoulders, any tension. Drop your hands to your sides and go back to your regular breathing pattern. Just felt different to do it in a different pattern than our usual kind of invisible pattern. I mean, we're always breathing, but usually it's very subconscious. We're bringing it into our conscious awareness. So moving up from the heart to the upper chest and Vishuddha area. Let's just do some shrugs. Inhale, bring your shoulders up to your ears, and this time exhale, release the breath, release the diaphragm, release the shoulders, let it out, let them widen. Feel the play of opposites. So you inhale and crunch your traps right up by your ears, feel the contraction, feel the effort, and then like that sighing release. with that Ujjayi breath. Let the shoulders drop, widen, feeling more spacious. Let's take the head to one side. So gently guiding it in the side plane. And being very mindful that this is a very tender area of the body. Please use your common sense. And inhale. Bring up the shoulder blade. Exhale. Drop it down. Big trap muscle. Up towards the ear. Exhale. Release down towards the ground. And then just go at your own pace a little bit, exploring that. A lot of us hold tension right there. And release, come back to center. Just normalize, regain your center and switch sides. Bring the head over. Inhale. Tuck it up. Exhale. Let the muscles release with the breath. Inhale up. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, engage. Exhale. Let it roll. Let the water just roll off your shoulders. Do a few more at your own pace, just feeling that connection. Gentle shrugs and release. Come back to center. And gently nod the head back and forth. Not going to your full range of motion, just being gentle and curious. Play with the breath. Usually as we extend, you breathe in to feel the stretch, and exhale to contract the muscles in the front of the throat. Inhale up. Exhale. Gently dip and bow the head. Come back to center. Look to your left and gently do the same, but in a smaller range of motion, just getting any tension out of the big neck muscles. And then always doing to the other side. Look over the other shoulder and nod gently. Keeping the spine tall, not just collapsing into a bow, keeping tall, lots of space between those vertebrae, and then doing from that majestic height, give a gentle nod. And come back to center. You can place your hands in Chin Mudra, which is connecting your fingertips and placing them palms down on your thighs, or in Dhyan Mudra, which is cupping one hand in the other and placing them on your upper thighs. And just softening your gaze if you haven't already. We've breathed, we've moved. Let's just go into a moment of meditation. where hopefully the breath and the movements we've done have made you have increased awareness of what's going on in your body, hopefully feeling some release of muscular tension that's different from sports or running or fitness. Really feel the abdominal wall relax so you don't hold any tension in the Manipura area, the navel. So that you can feel your natural breath, your natural easy breath, without any Simon Says or counting or pranayama, just the Sukha Purvaka, the easy natural breath. And try to just observe your own pattern. And of course, once you start doing that, it may shift because all of a sudden, hey, I'm being watched, it's, it's a funny thing. As we become a little more mindful, a little more self-aware. So if you can feel your nice diaphragm muscle descending as you breathe in and ascending as you breathe out. Maybe you feel your ribs, your rib cage around your heart moving with your breath. Expanding and deflating. Can you feel the cool air coming in your nostrils and leaving warmed as it exits, warmed by your own lungs, your own heat, whether breathing in through your lips or your nostrils. Feel the cool air go in and the warm air go out. Can you feel your heartbeat? Maybe your pulses in your fingers. Spending quiet time with yourself in an introspective state. Just observing, noting if anything that jumps into your awareness, as thoughts sometimes do, you can write it down afterwards. Just try to hold the pose, hold the meditation for just a few minutes. Because sometimes the mind all of a sudden gets really busy, all the things on the list that we should have done today. But with practice, the mind starts to say, oh, welcome home. Oh, this is so nice. I've shrugged off my to-do list, my TV watching, my scrolling, my emailing. Just having a chance to connect with yourself, your body, your breath. becomes a soothing opportunity to give self-care, your own quiet time with your own heart. Bring your mind back to the breath. Take a full deep breath in and release it nice and slowly. Open your eyes very slowly, coming back to the outer world. Take your hands, rub them, create some internal heat. And then place that to your heart chakra, to your heart center. Just seal it in. Seal in the experience of that precious, quiet inner time. And feel the heat from your own palms just going right in, sealing in the memory. And when you're ready, just bring your palms together. Again, yin and yang back to your heart and bow to your own heart. Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May there be peace in me, peace in you, and peace in the forces that act upon us. May we carry peace that we feel in our heart off of our mat or cushion. Bring it out into our other activities.